the biggest issue I think is, when I'm looking at the weekly chart, and okay, so imagine like I'm on peak formation high, right? And the price just made a pullback and it's on level 1, right? But on the weekly chart, it is showing like it's going up, an uptrend, right? So my mindset is like I will expect that level 1 to make a reset, right? But it doesn't make a reset, right? So when it doesn't go that way, I think I'm confusing myself more. So I'm trying to anticipate the reset, like people do with the setups, but I'm doing with the bias. So
yeah, so you have to be careful being on the weekly, because the thing is, the weekly is bouncing like crazy up and down. So honestly, for me, I only look at the week when it's just like, because the thing with candlesticks, right? They're only the candlestick is most useful when the candlestick is closed. So looking at it throughout the week is not going to be helpful as much as, so like, for example, this candle right here, this candle is more significant than the candle that's actually open, because this candle can come up, down, it can go all the way down, it can go all the way up, So all you can really do is just really look at this. Like, if you were to really interpret this, you could just say that price has been bullish for the past few weeks. So even though this candle is bearish right now, right? If you do your analysis, proper analysis, and this is where it comes into looking on the lower time frame and looking at actually understanding the weekly level builds that we go over in the advanced sessions, you can understand where price is going to go. So, like, for example, like I'm going to pull out this week right here, right? This was previous weeks. So if you look at it, right, how price if I look at where my closure is here and where my arrows come on this, so this is the, actually, can I do that? No. So like, if you look at the two bottom, look at how it goes. Price comes down, makes the low for that weekly candle, comes back up, comes back down, comes back up, like, you're not seeing the pullbacks that are happening within that candle. You're just seeing it move. And then the candle's finally complete. So you see, is that weekly candle useful if all those movements are happening within the candle?
Yeah.
No,
not really, yeah.
it's not.
Not really, yeah. Yeah.
So what's going to be useful to you is when a candle closes. Like, so what, like, for example, what's going to be useful to you here is the high of that previous candle. So for example, as this comes down, if I get a break of the previous week high, which is what we teach in the advanced course, we know that this has a potential to be a trending market, even though it's a Wednesday. Like, we may not see a good week reversal because we have broken previous weeks.
Right,
and we're in a channel, confluence trading. That's where a lot of people, you hear the term that the jargon that they use, confluence trading, because you have a lot of things that are lining up.
I see. On the weekly, I was just I wasn't looking the way that you just showed me, right? With the every single candle. I was just looking like was 1 second. Like I was marking this low, right? And if there was another significant level there, so I was aiming the price for the price to reach that level. Imagine if there is one there. That's it. That's what I was doing. So when it broke that one, right, I would expect to go higher. I wasn't doing like anything else than
yeah. It's not like you don't have the wrong idea. I think the thing is, so if we pull up this weekly, right? The main thing that I would look out for if I was using the weekly for my analysis, right, is I'm looking at the momentum candle of the candles, because this is just straight momentum. That's all it is, right? and I'm looking at the actual high, the wicks and lows of the price, and where price is striking through. Because, for example, like if we look at this area right here, right? Even though we have, I'm just showing this example because this is easy to depict it as a trend going upwards, because every week we're breaking the high of the market, right? But here, look at the wicks. Comes up, boom, comes up, boom, comes up every week. So what this is telling me is that price has an issue breaking the high right here, right? And this is just me objectively looking. I'm not assuming, I'm looking at literally price cannot break 123. It's a round psychological number. I didn't even try to pinpoint it. That's literally what's happening right there every single time. There's one candle, this one, that actually comes above it, but what happens? We have lots of stop hunts. There's so many people that probably saw this break of this channel, and they were thinking that they could take this as a buy, and what happens? They get collected and it goes with the channel.
Yeah.
You want to make it as simple as possible, especially looking at the weekly. The higher time frames, it's all about highs, lows, and momentum.
So when you're close, like this close to the high, right? When would you start to be like more like, would you cautious and change your bias, right? Like when you're 100 pips to the next significant point, like how close do you?
Right. So for me, like when I'm forecasting a position, right? Like for example, just like the current trade, like I'm looking at this weekly, right? I saw one thing and this is just from reading books, a lot of people are attracted to round hole psychological numbers. Like you could see that from this example I showed you here to here. It works because I've tested it. So for example, for me, even though I have tools like Fibonacci, obviously that's one forecasting tools. Another thing I'm looking at is for price to come to round psychological numbers, especially with gold. A lot of people are doing that. So what I expect is basically what I'm looking for, keyword and interaction of price, right? Because when price interacts with these levels, people become interested in these levels. So previous week, when we come up to 126, what happens, just Sunday when the market opened, we see that price is basically, it's not going to go straight up automatically. And that's because we have orders here, right?
Okay, yeah.
So people want to, that's probably been holding this trend for a long time, or have gotten into, like, say, like maybe they got in this week, maybe they got in this week. They're ready to collect it. They're ready to collect, because in order for this trend to keep continuing, somebody has to collect. Somebody has to collect. So but the thing is, we're just looking at it from a large weekly standpoint. If you look at it from a daily standpoint, you can see how we're able to continue that trend, essentially, because you have the buy orders, people collect. Buy orders, people collect. Buy orders, people collect. So therefore, if this is as strong as we think it is on a long-term basis, we think people are just trying to buy again until it tells us otherwise. If it breaks this trend, if it breaks this, right, significantly, then that's when the whole analysis changes for this whole entire chart.
Okay.
So I hope that makes some sort of sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah.
And that's going to help you develop more high probability when it comes to the basics, in terms of, can you see the weekly cycle? And now when you take your type 1s, 2s, or 3 setups, you understand which type 1s, 2s, 3 setups you're not supposed to be taking. Or you don't want to take, right?
Definitely. And the channel that you made, right? It's just a push on the daily time frame, right? After a level.
Yeah. So I'm looking at this. So the thing is, what I try to do is, like, for example, if I just pull this chart right here, if I look at the 4-hour, I try to look for something that's really clear. The thing is, for me, and this is just what I'm just telling you what's going on in my head. I don't want to scrunch this up as much as possible. I want clarity, right? So clarity exists by using a higher time frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the daily, right? And for me, I like to use the highest points on the market. So as you can see, I took this point right here, connected it, and as you can see, 1, 2, 3, that's that right there. Now for the bottom, I'm also speculating, right? So if I use I could use the lows right here, right, and put it right here, but that doesn't make sense to me, right? I'm trying to make this make sense. There's something in this price action that I feel is off, and I felt like it was this move right here. This was probably a false move because you can tell that this has been a tight trending channel. So if I exclude that candle, right, does this picture make more sense? To me, it does. So this is where the arts come in, the art of trading comes in, you know?
Right, yeah.
So for lack of a better term, Trav, you're really just going for consensus. What's happening overall? You get one odd shift. Well, you might be able to explain what's happening overall.
Yep. So it's just like, and this is where it comes in again, like all of these are just tools.
Yeah.
You're just using the tools and the knowledge that you know that the market doesn't do things like this type of manipulation. And can you use these tools to get a clear consensus of where the market can go next?
So you'd consider that to keep going along until it breaks that channel?
Correct.
Right.
So now it's like you have an overall clear bias. At least so it's like if anything, your goal is to have a clear bias. It's not about being, of course, it's not about, well, how it should be. It shouldn't be about being right or wrong. It should be about having a clear bias and you're thinking more in probability that you're right most of the time.
Yeah. No,
and that's what we're trying to do here. Yeah. Yeah. So any questions, guys? Because I know we're actually at the top of our hour, because we're going to do 3:30 to 4:30, and I want you guys to use this time to actually look at the charts on your own and start to develop the type of bias that we're doing right now. So, all right, guys, have a good rest of your day. Trade safe, okay?
Okay, thank you so much, guys.
You're welcome.
Awesome, Trav. That was great, man.
Welcome.